Hello, listeners. You are listening to KZAA 96.5 FM with Madre, Warrior Mother. And we are missing Ali Cortez from Bienestar CCC, but we'll have her on next time. Today, we are talking about managing expectations. This is a big topic for me because I always want to get everything done at once. And obviously, that's not realistic. Because everything takes time and there's only 24 hours in a day.
That's it. I need extra days and extra hours in order to get it all done. And then also like managing expectations with yourself and with others. I think it's really important to understand that everyone is at different places in their lives, and sometimes if you mismanage your expectations, it brings on disappointment. And so one of the things that I've learned, and it's important for me, is that understanding that we're all at different places, that has really helped me.
Definitely.
Manage the stress.
Well, even just around holidays, right? As moms, like making sure Halloween is perfect, and Halloween is coming up in a few days. So yeah, making sure the costumes that she wants are there, and that we hit up all the trick-or-treat spots that she wants, and I don't know, just making it memorable, you know?
Yeah. I think that with our children, we strive for perfection. We want everything to run smoothly. But I think that in this human experience, it's good for them to kind of feel like trials sometimes, and a little bit of tribulation. But of course, as a parent, all you want to do is protect them, and protect them from disappointment and grief and all of these feelings. But it's kind of like, well, you still want them to experience the full spectrum of feelings and emotions. And but I think in giving them tools to manage it, that's kind of the best that we can do as parents. What do you think?
Definitely. For me, I think it starts with doing introspective work on myself first, to be able to help her. Like, I just started somatic therapy, and I feel like it's going to make a really positive impact on my life. Just being in my body, like, completely, instead of kind of feeling like I'm above intellectualizing everything and not actually understanding like the impacts of certain actions on my personhood,
Yeah. Well, that's big. It's like you have to model, what you want for them. Oh, I love it. It's such a beautiful thing. And you know how they say, when you heal yourself, you're healing your line.
Yeah.
And there's so much truth wrapped in that. And I think that's why, for my kids, I'm so open and honest, like very raw about things, because I want them to understand, certainly we've gone through things, as a people, as a family, but you know what, from here on out, here's what we're going to do, and here are the tools. So then I guess with your own healing, do you provide like some of that insight to your daughter?
Well, I just started, but I will be for sure. They taught us, or she taught me about butterfly hooks. Have you heard about this?
No.
Yeah, so with somatic therapy, because I think it's a big mystery for a lot of people when you say somatic therapy, what does that actually mean? So basically it's like reprocessing trauma in a way where your body metabolizes it almost, and like sees it in a new way.
Okay.
And so in order to like project more positivity into yourself, you do this thing called butterfly hugs, where you actually have to tap alternately. So 1, 2, 1, 2, while you're processing those hurtful experiences or memories, until you start to feel better. And the crossing has something to do with like your left brain and your right brain.
Okay.
Like understanding things,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
Like I said, it's my very first one, so that was a very rough explanation.
No, but I get it because the body holds the trauma, the stress, the tension in different ways, and it's like, okay, well, how do you manage to flush it out? You know, what do you do? So yeah, I in my therapy sessions, but oh my gosh, I feel like I'm getting so far, and then at the same time I have so much work to do. But feeling where that emotion kind of sits, you know, or where it lives, breathing to it. The tapping is the way it was explained to me was that the tapping allows the brain to take it out of this compartment where it was stored, and it allows it to move into like, oh, okay, yeah, that happened, and that's going to be filed away, and we don't have to pull up that file anymore, kind of thing.
That's a better explanation.
Well,
Listen to Siobhan.
no, you know what? That wasn't my explanation. That's how it was explained to me because I had no idea. I mean, but you know, I had a few, you know, traumatic situations as a child, and just like 2 sessions of that, it was like, oh, okay. Now when I'm triggered by it, it's not at the forefront of my mind. I don't feel so anxious about it. I feel like, okay, yes, this happened, and it's good to remember, you know, certain things, but for the most part, I don't feel the intense hurt or pain that I was feeling before. And so, yeah,
That's
I highly
great.
recommend it.
Absolutely.
And it's so funny because I feel like in our culture, you know, and especially in my family, I'm like, oh, I'm in therapy. I'm like, okay, in therapy, you know. And I'm like, well, what's wrong with it? You know, like I want to help myself here.
Yeah, they should be applauding you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, you know, I feel like there's a real negative, I don't know, look or view on it when you tell someone you're getting therapy. It's like, okay, well, what's wrong with you then? Like, well, there's something wrong with all of us. I think.
Yeah.
I think we're
I
all
mean,
a
to
little
live in
bit.
a capitalist society, there's got to be a lot of trauma there. You know, no matter
How far do we go back?
colonialist society.
Yes.
But I think managing expectations even goes toward the conversation of therapy itself, because you know, with talk therapy, I think it has helped me, but it has felt too slow. And that's why I'm turning to somatic therapy now, because from what I've heard, it gives you faster results. But I also know I can't fix myself overnight, nor should I try to fix myself, because we are fine as we are. It's just working through trauma. And I don't know. I feel like with my first session, we didn't even touch the childhood stuff. Like it's literally just things that happened to me in the last month. You know,
It was a lot. You've been through a lot lately.
But I am kind of nervous about getting to the childhood stuff because it is very intense.
Yeah.
Like, how did you even get to be able to process it without being too nervous? Or
Oh, I was a wreck going into it. Yeah. I have a good poker face. No, no, I was a wreck going into it because, for me, talking feelings, emotions, I have a hard time identifying exactly what I'm feeling or what emotion it is. And so that alone, you know, it's like, well, how do you feel? I'm like, I don't know, it feels icky. That's my explanation for it, you know.
it doesn't feel great.
Yeah,
I'll tell
right.
you that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It doesn't feel good. I don't know what it is or what I'm feeling, but it's not good. So I really lacked the vocabulary for it. I really lacked the ability to even articulate what exactly I was feeling. So going into it, of course, I was just like, I don't want to talk about this. It's easier to block things out and not talk about it and to just kind of bury it. That feels safer for me. And I know that that's not healthy.
Well, because there's a disconnect between the brain and the heart, and it's like maybe for like day-to-day survival purposes, it's easier.
Yes.
But then in the long run, you see how these things manifest itself in relationships individuals either close to you or even the people that you work with.
Yes.
And you're like, oh yeah, maybe I should do something about that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. And in relationships, it's like it's just as toxic to cut off and not talk about things as it is to sit there and argue and yell, rather than sit and talk. And that's something that I've learned over the years, is that just because I'm not yelling or arguing, it doesn't mean that it's okay. Being emotionally unavailable is also very damaging to relationships. And so kind of, unlearning some things and learning new things, and like I said, work in progress.
We all are.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that, I highly recommend everyone give some sort of therapy a try, whether it's talk therapy, somatic therapy, like whatever it is, try different things out. I had to go through a couple of therapists before I felt like I found my match, someone who kind of understands and like with the stars a little bit, and kind of align with my beliefs and what I don't know, just what works best for me. So I think that everyone's different, but it's something that I recommend to everyone. And then another thing is, and I was thinking about this, was in talking about identifying feelings and that sort of thing, in our teen group with Allie, I said, let's talk emotions, so this is not even for the teens, but for me too.
Yeah.
But every day we do a check-in where we identify how are we feeling today. And it's not just happy, sad, it's, content, joyful, frightened, frustrated, not just angry, but maybe disappointment.
Yeah.
And so being able to find all these words to identify what we're feeling, it sort of empowers us to be able to articulate exactly what it is.
Yeah, I have a whole checklist. I have these two little journals. One is on calm,
Okay.
like what do you do to bring yourself calm, and the other one is on gratitude. And I forget which one of it, but one of them has a whole checklist on your feelings. And on the left-hand side, it's like emotions that are generally positive or we see as positive, and on the right-hand side, it's emotions that you generally see as negative.
Mhm.
And I've even seen just the progress of the act of writing these things down over time,
Mhm.
and how things kind of shift from one column to the other,
Okay.
just from the awareness of like how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. And talking about managing expectations, for yourself, I don't know about you, but I put a lot of pressure on myself to learn these things, to know these things, to practice them. And some days my brain is just like, zzz, it's enough. I've had, a really emotional day, and there's a lot of pressure I put on myself. It's not from outside, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I need to immediately feel better, or immediately identify this and process it and go through all these steps in order to heal it. It's like some days, just sitting with it for a moment and feeling those feels. And I withdraw. I tell people I get my little cave, and I get comfortable, and I just sit and check in with my body, see where it is, breathe. A lot of times breathe or stretch,
Big fan of breathing.
Yeah. Breathing's good. And then sometimes in movement. So I'm a very physical person. So I need to move in order for it to help kind of flush out that stagnant energy.
Well, science has proved that stress and anxiety, all that stuff lives in your body. So if you don't do anything to get it out, it's going to stay in you and even manifest into sickness and
Yes.
not great things.
Yeah. So if that's, you know, dancing, hiking, swimming, lifting, punching something, you know, whatever it is that works for you. And when I say punch something, I mean like a bag, not people.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're
But-
mostly non-violent.
Yes. Yeah. Mostly. But you know, allowing that energy just to be released in one way or another is huge. And I don't feel that a lot of Americans, you know, stay stagnant, you know, and don't allow that. And so that's why one of the reasons why I believe there's so much sickness here.
Well, there's so many distractions, right? There's TV, cable, Netflix, Hulu, social media, the Instagram,
yeah.
the Facebook, Twitter. It's like you can
TikTok.
basically always be busy doing something else other than looking inward and seeing what you have to progress on, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It almost keeps you numb.
Isn't that something? Yeah. You know, I think that there's strategy in it, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Yes. Happy to go down that rabbit hole
Yeah.
whenever you feel like it.
Right. But yeah, so you know, with that, I think that giving yourself or allowing yourself some grace is kind of the key to all of that, and really sit with it.
Well, how come we're able to give other people grace, but we can't give it to ourselves? Like I mentioned the somatic therapy yesterday. I'm like, all right, I did my therapy. Now I can do everything else I plan to do today as previously scheduled. I didn't realize how much therapy was going to take out of me. And then I had to take like a 2-hour nap, which I never take naps, although I should take more naps. But yeah,
I love naps.
like, and it's like my body didn't even give me the choice. It was like, no, you have to take a nap right now.
Yeah, you're gonna lay down. Isn't that something? Well, because we believe in the hype, you know, we believe that we can do everything all the time. And gosh, taking a step back and doing for you what allows you to do so much more for others. It's that whole put your oxygen mask on first.
Right.
But in processing traumas, you know, in like your recent traumas, it's like, oh gosh, it got released, and now it's like, okay, now rest and recoup and rebuild. And that's what happens when we rest, is that the body rebuilds itself. So the muscles, the cells, all the tissue, everything is like, you know, rejuvenated.
Yeah, definitely.
Reconstructed.
Well, I'm going to take this moment to do station identification, because if we don't, the FCC will get mad.
Oh.
So this is KZAA 96.5 FM LP, and you are listening to Ana Rosa Rizzo Santino with Siobhan Hoover. We represent Madre and Warrior Mother, and today we are missing our beloved Ali Cortez from Bienestar CCC, but she will be with us next time. Thank you for listening.
Yes. Back to Halloween. I kind of wanted to
What are you going to dress up as?
I don't know. So I have a few things in mind. I was either going to do kind of like this Aries kind of thing. Like, yeah, I'm not sure yet.
Do you have your ram horns?
I ordered them and they should be here any day
Oh my
now. So
gosh.
I'm so excited to see. I don't know if I can
I wish
pull
I
it
would
off.
have
We'll
known. I
see.
would have gotten my little crab outfit.
Oh, that would have been perfect. So either that, I mean, I've done so many different things in the past. I've got like a ton of costumes, and so I was thinking maybe a replay of something, but I don't know. I'm doing a pop-up on Sunday, so the day before Halloween, and everybody's like, oh, dress up, and I was like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do now, and they want it to match your table or your booth, and so I'm like, Warrior Mother, what does that look like? So
Maybe like Wonder Woman or something like
yeah, I was thinking that. I'm not sure if anybody has ideas.
Gladiator.
Yeah, I did a She-Ra one year.
She-Ra!
I did that
I
one
love
year.
She-Ra.
I do too.
Do that
I
one.
did one of the warriors from we did a theme. My son was Black Panther, and then my daughter was what's the sister's name?
Shuri?
Shuri. And then I did one of the warriors, the
The
bald one. Yeah. So maybe replay that costume. I'm not quite sure yet.
Yeah, that'd be cool too.
Yeah. So
I can't imagine you bald though.
I know what I did was I pulled my hair back.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
and I just
okay.
left it in the bun in the back. And so it kind of, was,
Yeah.
um,
I'm so excited for the premiere of Wakanda Forever on
I
November
know,
11th.
Me too. Me too. Yeah, and I like the idea of, Cherie kind of taking the place there. So a lot of girl power out there right now. But yeah, one thing that came to mind with Halloween was these big kids. Okay, and we're talking about expectations today. So it kind of like dawned on me, and I say this because my son is 13, turning 14. We were talking about like trick or treating, and he's like, well, because I said, well, do you still want to go? And he was like, yeah, like what? Yeah.
I
And
went through high school. I might have even done a little bit at
after,
UCSD.
yeah. Right. And so to me, you hear a lot of people say, oh, these kids are too big to be out here trick or treating. I've heard that like over and over again lately. And I'm like, who cares? These kids are not out partying. They're not out, causing trouble. They're trick or treating. And I think that, as adults, we need to take a look at that and really manage our expectations, right? These kids still want to be kids. And we kind of sometimes force them out of that.
Mhm.
And I think that it's important to remember that, okay, if they want to be doing kid-like things still, they should be allowed that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, hand over the Snickers. Like they're being good kids and just asking you for some candy. Like there's literally no harm in that. And I'd rather them doing that than something else that could either hurt themselves or other people.
That was my thought, but I've heard it on several occasions lately where they're like, oh, these big kids, they want to come out here. And in my head, I'm like, and maybe, because my kids are a little bit older now, I'm real sensitive to it. But it really kind of grind my gears a little bit. And I wanted to just like bark back. And I was like, wait, let me take a second. Breathe. Breathe.
Well, it's just, I feel like some people are so full of negativity and hate. Why would they even turn Halloween into something to be mad at kids about? Like, it's literally the holiday for kids. I mean, we have fun as adults with it too, but if you're under 18, I expect you to be trick or treating. I'm sorry.
Right? I know. Anyway, the thought crossed my mind several times and I couldn't, get past it. And I'm just like, I don't understand what goes on in someone's head. And they're like, we'll save the candy for the little kids. Well, you know what? These little kids don't need as much candy as you think.
And little tummies.
Exactly. But,
and their teeth are still developing, so it creates more harm on them.
That's it. Are you dressing up?
I always dress up.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I always dress up at least 2 things, usually more.
Oh, okay.
But for sure, I'm going to be Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes. Okay.
And I'm still trying to figure out the other one. I usually figure out the other one closer to the day of it. I know we're literally just a few days away, but I'll probably figure it out the day before.
I always manage to put these last minute costumes together.
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
Okay, my favorite is this memory of me being this little girl, and my parents were very working class poor, and so they usually don't spend money on anything other than just like food and basic necessities. But my mom took it upon herself to buy me this really beautiful ballerina costume from this little boutique by our house. And I'm like, wow, she's like splurging on me, and like we never get this. And so just I know how hard she worked to make that money, and just the fact that she felt like she was gonna spend it on my costume.
Yes.
Like it was, I'll always remember that.
Yeah. Oh, how special. I kind of the same. We grew up, for sometime my parents were divorced and then they remarried again. So during the time when my dad
Couldn't
wasn't
stay
there,
away.
they couldn't. No, gosh, those two, call them the kids. Uh, but my mom would make our costumes. So we didn't get these like store-bought ones, which I was always like, but I want the store, I wanted the store. And so my mom would go to thrift stores and, find materials, and she'd sew things together. And so I felt really, I don't know, like I wasn't doing enough for my kids because I was like, oh, we're just going to buy this. I don't have time to. And I think, well, it was a different time too, but in any case, she used to make the best costumes. And that's like one of the memories that like always pops up for me. And I had a few really good ones that I was just like, geez, I can't live up to that. I cannot live up
What
to
were
it.
they?
Oh, so one time she did a Carmen Miranda one.
What?
She
I love
did,
that.
I know. She did like a Queen of Hearts one for me, like made me this like a card and like
Oh,
painted my
wow.
face. Oh gosh, now I'm gonna Pippi Longstockings. That was fun.
Did she use the hangers to
But
keep your
yeah, the
braids
wire
up?
hangers. She did. Yep. I was a princess one time, but we reused a dress that I used to do like pageants. When I was a little girl.
Oh
So
wow.
we reused one of the dresses, but she like, dolled it up a little bit more, and it's just really
Well,
impressive things.
what was that experience like being in pageants as a kid? I want to hear.
Oh gosh. Well, you know what? It had both positive and negative effects on me for
Okay.
sure. The with the negative, on the negative side, I'll start with that. It was at the time, all of the winners were always like blonde hair, blue. I was the only one of the only colored girls, in the pageants. So I would sometimes be like terribly disappointed. And I can remember one time, my dad really, he would talk me up, you're so beautiful, you're gonna win this, look at that smile, your dress, oh, your poses,
Mm.
And so I went in feeling very confident,
Mhm.
And I didn't even place that
Mm.
time. And I just remember coming off the stage, I was probably only like, I don't know, 8, 10.
Yeah.
Coming off the stage and then just literally like burst into tears. I
Oh.
know. Because I felt like they don't like me.
Mm.
They don't, all the girls up there, they all look the same.
Yeah.
And I,
Like cardboard cutouts.
yeah, yeah. So that was, on the negative side. On the positive side, it did instill a, a stage presence, a confidence, the ability to kind of put on this mask as I go out, no matter what I'm feeling. When I get out there, it's like, here I am, guys.
Look at
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is it's a parade. And so it growing up, I was always in front of people performing, singing, dancing, emceeing, that kind of thing. So it really kind of helped spur this like public speaking.
Jennifer.
I know. We're on the east side, guys.
Let's not go for that.
Yeah. So in any case, what was I saying? Confidence.
So present.
Oh yes, yes. Stage presence and spurred public speaking. So even now, when I go to talk in front of people, I get super anxious and butterflies and all of that. Sometimes I'm like, oh God, I want to puke. But then when I get out there in front of people, everybody's like, oh, you're so calm and collected. And I'm like, yeah, you have no idea what's going inside. It's like
Yeah.
I'm jumping out of my own skin. But I think that really kind of, it really helped where I am now. So I get super nervous with things, and then it's kind of like, all right, you put on your mask, your stage presence is there, and you perform.
Yeah. The only ones I ever did were like Halloween costume contests, actually, because there was this little park, I want to say in Southgate. So I live in Maywood, that's another southeast city in Los Angeles. And my dad would let me compete in the Halloween costume contest, but never got to do the pageants, although I would always watch like Miss Universe and Miss America on TV. Be like, oh, I want to be pretty like that.
Right. Yeah.
But it's very hard to have that just awareness, because I think I also figured it out at a very young age. Even just like with Barbies I would get for like birthdays or Christmas. It's like, why are these Barbies always blonde and blue-eyed? I'm like, I want a Barbie that looks like me.
Yeah.
And that's why when I was older, I would get like, I would literally tell them, do not get me another blonde Barbie, please. I don't want.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that something though? I mean, we had a Barbie, and she was like, I don't know, she looked like an islander. Like I don't know if she was Asian or not, but she had like long dark hair, and that was my favorite because her hair and my hair, it was like kind of the same. But same thing. It was like, yeah, the blonde ones are pretty, but this one is my favorite. And I think now it's something that's so much more, prevalent, that they have a wide variety of them. And
like the LOL dolls.
Yeah.
The pretty like big eyes.
Those are so cute.
Like really exciting makeup.
Yes.
Like, they don't all look the same. They all have like their little personality and style.
They do. Yeah. And something that you said that kind of like struck a chord with me is that when you said that all the pageant girls, you wanted to be pretty like them. And it's like, girl, you are beautiful. And, and I feel like a lot of women don't see that and look at that. And that was kind of where I was as a kid, where it was like, all these girls look like this, but I don't. Yeah. So am I not pretty?
Yeah, I think at some point I gave up on trying to be pretty like that. And then I just got really into basketball, and I'd be like shooting over all the guys in my dress with my Mary Jane shoes on.
I know. I was such a tomboy too. I had such a balance, I think, because I was the same way. I was outside with the boys in the dirt, playing basketball, playing baseball. Dodgeball was my favorite. Oh my God. It had an arm on me. But yeah.
Were people scared of you?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I was a big kid. Yeah. It's funny now because I'm so short, but as a child, I matured quickly. So I was a tall kid. And then after like junior high, I stopped growing. I grew like a half an inch. So I was this tall as a seventh grader.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, fully developed. Yeah, it was something else. But I was bigger than the boys. And then all of a sudden they
caught up to you.
Yeah. And I had an older brother who I wanted to be like, everything he did, I wanted to be there. And so even though I had that girly girl side, it definitely like took over. And then up until I was in high school, it was kind of like tomboyish. Big baggy clothes, big pants.
Until what was it? Your friend got you to try on different kinds of clothes?
Yes, that was I think my sophomore year in high school. And we went to the football game. And she's like, "Are you wearing that?" I think I told this story before, didn't I?
You're like, oh,
yeah. She put some girly girl clothes on, and I got a lot of attention that night. And I was like, "Oh, this is how it works." Okay, all right. I see where my power is. Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's something about femininity and being soft, and that was something that I was not used to. So it's taken some time. I'm kind of coming back into my softness these days. Well, working on it.
I feel like we have to have both
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And as a Cancer, I definitely either retreat into
Oh,
my shell or I'm
yes.
way the heck out of my shell.
Yeah. Ooh, what is your birthday?
7-11.
Okay.
And there's an eclipse today.
I know,
Or
solar
partial
eclipse in
Mhm.
Scorpio, guys.
Yeah. So transformation, I think, is the vibe.
Transformation, things that, end, there are like new beginnings. So everything is a cycle. And so wherever you're at, it's, yeah, kind of open your heart up to new things and see where it leads you.
Yeah. Whenever there's an eclipse, I feel like buying more crystals.
I always do. I have this whole in my house. It's a fireplace, but it's tiered, and so I've got all my little crystals set
I was just
about.
admiring it. It's so pretty.
I love it. And I know, and when I moved in, I was like, where am I going to put all these crystals? And I was like, oh, perfect spot. In any case, I have everything kind of strategically placed. So whenever I walk into a room, I can see one, here and there. And yeah, it's with the full moon, I also like to, or not the full moon, new moon, is to set intentions
Yeah.
and kind of write some things down that you want for yourself. And like you said, transformation. So what would I like to see, from here on out, kind of thing. So I plan to do that tonight, and to burn a little sage.
Yeah.
And also there's a cinnamon ritual. Typically it's like on the first of the month, but I like to do it on the new moons and the full moons. Is you take a little bit of cinnamon and you blow it in through the front door, and it signifies abundance.
Oh, I love cinnamon. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited
Oh,
about this
really?
one.
Yeah. So I just I kind of blow it through the front door, and it's kind of like ushering in, abundance and whatever that means for you. So abundance of love, of finances, so whatever.
Fun.
Fun, yeah. Yeah, I like to have fun. So yeah, so typically that's done on the first of the month. But again, I like new moon and full moon as well.
Yeah, I haven't gotten my new moon ritual down, but I definitely do a full moon. Just very simple, putting the rose quartz out for it to charge overnight. And then when I bring it in the next morning, holding it to my heart and then putting it on my daughter's altar. Yeah. Sharing that energy.
Yeah, I know. And I have so many of them now that I'm like, I can't take them all outside to charge, but sometimes I do. And we just, I make the kids help me. They're like, okay, here we go. Yeah. But we take them all out and put them all out. And then moon water. I collect the moon water, and then I use that water usually for my diffuser with essential oils. So you can do that, or you can drink it. Obviously, whatever you choose to do. It's a little bit charged, so it's supposed to be a little bit more powerful.
Oh,
yes.
I want to try that.
Yeah.
Do you have any essential oils that smell like cinnamon?
I do. I know. I did one last year. It was like a Christmas cheer. Is what I did. So, but yeah, that one was really yummy. It was like cinnamon and clove and something. Yeah, I can't remember. I'll have to look at what I did, but I plan to do another round of that one because that one went really quickly.
Yeah, sign me up.
And then also for the house, you can just like burn or get like the cinnamon sticks from the store. I always go into the section, what do they call it? The like cultured foods or whatever. It's like the Latino section.
Yeah.
And they have a little bag.
I usually use the H word, Hispanic. I hate that word.
I know. So they have the little cinnamon sticks. And I say that because if you go into the regular seasonings, you're going to pay like $10 for these, and over here they're like $2.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. So taking those with like an orange peel and a couple of like little cloves, put them in a pot and just let it boil. And that aroma in the house, Oh, that is so lovely. But yeah. And now that I think about it, I have a sweet orange and a cinnamon. Ooh, we're gonna see what we can do with these essential oils. Wait a minute. You give me some ideas.
You're gonna get me started and I won't be able to stop.
I know. It's an addiction, guys.
Because I'm already on the crystal train, but I still haven't gotten on the oil train.
Yeah, I'm definitely oily. And people will tell me, "Oh, I can smell you before I see you coming." I'm like, I know.
But at least it's natural smells, because what I don't like is like the Bath and Body Works, where
Yeah.
it's like really chemically smells.
Perfume,
Like
yeah,
perfumey. I hate that.
yeah.
But I like natural smells like that.
And most of the time, like those kind of smells, they give people headaches.
Yeah, it gives me a headache.
Yeah. And I think it's because of the chemicals. But yeah, for the most part, some of the smells are very earthy, and not a lot of people like those. But the ones that I usually rock with are like lavender, a little bit of peppermint. That's my go-to. Those two. Make one that's called Happy, and it's sweet orange with a little bit of vanilla and just a little tiny bit of lavender. But the sweet orange is known to bring on like a sense of joy.
Oh,
Lemongrass and lavender, that combination. Ooh. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. So lemon is like energizing and purifying. So, there's so many uses, and the brain gets triggered. So, for some people, I think we talked about, you don't like lavender, right?
no.
Yeah. But for a lot of people, the smell of lavender, it's immediately calming and relaxing for whatever reason. Not a scientist, but I know, I know what works.
Well, it may also have to do with that. My earliest experiences with lavender, it was like the chemically like smells of it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
also like the reason why I hate cherry is because my earliest experiences with it was like cough syrup,
Oh, yeah.
And so like I've only been able to find one cherry that I like, and it's Mount Rainier cherries.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I feel like they're more of a mix of like cherry and apricot almost, or like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't taste like the typical cherry. I don't know. I have weird taste.
No, I like those cherries too. Those are the best ones. With cherry, also, like, in thinking about this, is like it reminds me of like car fragrances. And it's like cherry, and it's like you get into somebody's car and you're like, oh God, roll down
like
the windows,
overpowering.
please. Yeah. That's what it makes me think of when you said cherry smell. Like, ooh, yuck.
Before it was always vanilla, but I feel like
Yes.
as I've grown older, I've just been trying different things, so I'm not always stuck to the same
Vanilla
vanilla.
Fields.
Yeah.
Did you wear that Vanilla Fields perfume?
I don't think I did, but I've heard of it.
It was like, I don't know, during the days of like exclamation.
Oh,
and-
yeah. And cool water for the guys.
Yes, exactly. For car.
All the boys in my high school smelled like cool water.
Yeah, for sure. Isn't it funny? And then you know how a smell can take you somewhere too. You're like, I smelled something the other day, and I'd like turn around and I was like, gosh, I feel like that one time when I was in Hawaii and that lady was talking to me, and it was like her perfume all over again,
Yeah.
or you smell something and you're like, oh, this reminds me of my Nana's house, and it takes you back to when you were a kid.
Yeah.
That's what I do like about the essential oils too, is that it can spark up something in the brain that's like, ooh, it just triggered.
Like a positive memory.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you have been listening to a very fragrant episode of Que Madre and Warrior Mother and Bienestar CCC. Although we're missing Ali today, this is Siobhan Hoover and Anata Saviso Sandino. And we've been talking about essential oils, managing expectations, Halloween, somatic therapy, crystals, full moon rituals, new moon rituals, the fact that it's going to be a partial eclipse today. So get that transformation in here.
Yes. And hopefully, no matter where you're at, you're able to experience it and feel something from it. You know, be intentional about it.
Yes. So any parting words that you want to leave with our listeners?
Oh gosh, we covered so much today.
I love talking with you.
I know, me too. Well, not with me too, but with you.
You're like, yes, I
Silly.
enjoy talking to myself as well.
We have lengthy conversations in my
We
head.
all do, right? Don't
Yeah,
we
yeah.
talk to ourselves?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
do sometimes.
I know. Okay, so parting words then is that in talking to yourself, in managing your own expectations of yourself, be kind. And if you are saying things to yourself that you would not say to your best friend, or to someone that you're sitting down and having a conversation with, don't say it to yourself. Be really mindful and conscious of the things that you are saying, because sometimes when we focus so much on negative, we all that energy is directed there, and so it's going to bring that out. And so it's very important to allow yourself some grace and kindness.
Yes, be gentle with yourself. Give yourself the grace that you would give others. Treat yourself nice. Take yourself out on dates. Yesterday, I took myself to a sushi lunch, which I normally don't do, but I was like, I just went through therapy. I need a little bit of something extra for myself.
Here,
So,
yeah, a little treat.
love yourself above all.
That's
And
it.
then you can love everyone else even better. Thank you for listening.
Bye, guys.